Michael Yardney for another weekly Rich Habits, Poor Habits video. Welcome, Tom Corley.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Good, thank you. And each week, Tom, we unpack the information that you provide in your great books and in our joint book, Rich Habits, Poor Habits, which of course you can get at richhabitspoorhabits.com, and you get free worldwide delivery anywhere. And I guess today what I'd like to talk about are some of the habits that you found that stop people from getting rich. There's lots of them, but can we distill it down to 4 key habits, please, Tom?
Sure. So one of the things that I found in my research was that people had certain habits that just threw a wrench into everything. And one of those was gambling. I found that the poor people gambled, whereas the rich people didn't gamble. And the poor people weren't just, gambling periodically. They were gambling every week. They were playing the lottery. They were betting on horses. They were betting on athletic events. They had this poor habit of gambling away their money. And when you gamble away your money, it's gone. And you're, for example, the odds of winning, I think the Powerball is 1 in 175 million, which really is just zero, Michael. Let's just be honest.
Now, Tom, I remember, I don't think I've ever shared this with you, that my father's financial plan, every Saturday morning, he'd sit having his cigarette and his black coffee, and he was writing notes and figures. And I asked him once, what are you doing? And that was his dream of what he was going to do when he spent the money of the lottery that was drawn every Saturday night. Tom, he never won a big prize. He just won enough little prizes to get him to buy another lottery ticket. That was his financial plan. Unfortunately, it's the financial plan of a lot of people thinking that that's going to be their way out of the rat race. And it's not, is it, Tom?
It's not. And I had one of the stories I had was one of the self-made millionaires in my study. He ran a number of businesses. He had multiple streams of income. One of them was a landscaping business that he owned that generated a little bit of revenue, side revenue, but he didn't do any of the work. He had people working for him. And he said he always noticed that when he gave them their check on Friday, at the end of the day on Friday, they made a beeline right for the convenience store. And he followed them one time, and he said they spent about 10 to 15% of the pay that he just gave them on buying lottery tickets. And it just made him shake his head and disgust. And he said, boy, they worked so hard for that 10 or 15%. And there it goes, right out the window.
So the first bad habit you've got to avoid is gambling habits. And I think a lot of people wouldn't even consider that gambling. I'm not gambling, I'm just buying a weekly lottery ticket. That's not a road to success. The next habit that you mentioned is time-wasting habits. Time is money, Tom.
It is. And the wealthy people, the self-made millionaires, they really use their time efficiently. In fact, while other people, poor people, middle-class people, were watching TV or, just wasting their time at a bar, they were building streams of income. In fact, 65% of the self-made millionaires in my study had 3 streams of income, and some had 4 streams of income, and some had 5 streams of income. I just saw an article today. Richard Branson has over 400 streams of income. So this is what self-made millionaires do. They build streams of income. Well, you can't build streams of income, Michael, if you're wasting your time, if you're sitting in front of a TV. So this was one of the habits that separated the rich from the poor, time-wasting habits, watching TV and other nonsense like that.
So clearly time doesn't discriminate. Everyone gets 24 hours, whether you're rich or poor. But I guess what you're saying is the rich simply choose to spend their time differently, doing things that are productive. Tom, I would have thought on the top of the list, though, would be bad spending habits.
Yeah, well, that's one of them, Michael. I'm glad you brought that up. So one of the things that I found that poor people did was they engaged in something I call spontaneous spending. It's really an emotion-based spending. They see something and they buy it because it hits some emotional chord inside of them. They don't shop around. They just see that thing and they want it. And they'll even put it on a credit card, Michael. It could be a 60-inch TV set, It could be a motorcycle. I don't know. It could be any number of things. But they see something that they want, and they decide right then and there, let me have that. I want immediate gratification. Rich people didn't do that. They didn't engage in that spontaneous spending.
Well, we know that wealthy people have learned the habit of delayed gratification, and that's hard. But I think it's today with store cards and credit cards, it's just so easy. And that creates these bad money habits, Tom, because people see the limit on their credit card as their money, and it's not, is it?
No, it's not. It's their future income. So they're actually mortgaging their future earnings when they engage in instant gratification spending. And so what separates the rich from the poor is the rich people don't do that. They'll only spend money when they've saved enough of the money in order to afford to buy whatever the thing is that they want to buy.
And of course, they spend it in general on assets as opposed to liabilities, but that's a whole new topic. Tom, you talked about bad spending habits, but what about poor saving habits?
Well, this is an important point because as I mentioned several times on our videos, the self-made millionaires didn't start out rich. They came from poverty or they came from the middle class. So they started out basically on equal footing with everybody else in the world. What they did that was different, however, and it's because their parents taught them this savings habit. So they put money aside. They might have saved 10 or 15 or 20% of their earnings. And what happens down the road, Michael, is those savings build up, and then an opportunity presents itself. It might be buy a side business, invest in a side business, and that generates cash flow. So they would have the savings, the ability to invest in those opportunities.
Tom, I've found much the same. I know in your studies you found that it takes the average millionaire or multimillionaire 32 years to become rich. While when you read the internet and all the things you get in your inbox, in Australia, you can buy 10 properties in 10 minutes or 7 properties in 7 years. Doesn't work that way. I've similarly found that the wealthy people I deal with in Australia, the wealthy property investors, take about 30 years to get there. The first 5-10 years, they learn what not to do. We all make mistakes, and then you've got to undo it a bit. And it takes a number of property cycles to get there. Same with business. You've got to scale it to a particular point so that it actually starts giving you income streams, and then you can build assets. So getting wealthy isn't a get rich quick scheme, is it, Tom?
No, it's not. And, that's the reason poor people play the lottery is because they don't want to invest the time that it's going to take. Who wants to, invest 30 years and build it and before they become a millionaire? People want instant gratification, Michael. They want that lottery winnings today so they can buy the stuff that they want today.
So in summary, becoming wealthy is possible, and it is possible in the countries we live in, and that people are watching this video and listening to this podcast, Tom, because we are living in the best of times in countries where there's huge opportunities, but it's only possible if you eliminate your destructive money habits and adopt sound ones. Tom, thank you. I think there were some great lessons in there, so I look forward to having another session with you real soon.
I'm looking forward to it too, Michael. Thank you.